Hello and welcome to the second episode, manga episode 1 coming at you because last week was episode 0. If you stuck
hmm
through the intro, you know, and I'm proud of you. It is the BB&J show. That is BB. I am Jay. We're saying hello. BB, say hello to the adoring fans.
Hello.
Very well said. I didn't even have a chance to take a sip of coffee. Thank you so much for that. Really, really appreciate that. Welcome in episode 2. We want to say a sincere and heartfelt thank you to everybody who
Yes.
has commented on the video or commented to us in streams or on Discord or anywhere else. It's shown all the love, subscribed, liked the video, all the wonderful love that the episode 1 got. We appreciate you so very much. I know that BB appreciates you as well, even though he
Oh
says one word at a time.
no, I really do appreciate it. I couldn't believe it honestly when we did that first episode and the reactions we got. Like Jay said, the subscriptions and the comments too. We saw the comments. Awesome, awesome stuff, and thank you very much.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with BB. It took off. It was way better received than I thought was possible. So we
Yeah.
sincerely appreciate it. And it kind of got away from us. We kind of ended up going a bit long. We were planning for a half-hour episode when we were talking it over and sort of doing our production meeting. We kind of were like, it's 3 10-minute segments. And BB, you told me that you thought it would actually run short.
Yeah, I when I was reading the actual segments, because we try to do like breakdowns of everything, and I was reading the segments and I was like thinking, should I tell Jay this might be too short for 30 minutes? Like we probably will go through this fast, and had no idea we would go for a whole hour.
An hour and 10. And if you stuck through the whole
Yeah.
hour and 10, you're a trooper. You're a
Oh
super
yeah,
trooper.
you're a champion.
Uh,
Oh my goodness.
I was a part of it, and I was barely here for the whole hour 10, so, GG to you. But one of the things we had planned for last week that we kind of breezed through there at the end was sort of gaming culture writ large. So when we were putting together this episode, I kind of mentioned that we should, at the start of this episode, sort of revisit that because we kind of brushed over it, and we're going to join it with some other things. We also have a topic. We have some Halo Infinite coming up that we're going to talk about getting into the show, and of course, our weird, wild news from the wider world. I have something very exciting that I hope you guys will stick around for at the end of the show. So, BB, are you
Same,
ready to
same,
get
same.
into it?
I'm ready. Let's go.
Let's
Let's
go.
mix it up.
Yes, let's go. That was a tease right there. Television business. It's all show business, kid. It's show business, I tell you. So, last week we were talking about gaming culture and how games release either way pushed back or they release in bits and pieces. And one of the examples was Cyberpunk, how the game released broken. There's no way
hmm
to put it. It released broken, and then it's fixing post patch. And it's one of the sort of what I would call a pitfall of technology, right? Because with the ability to update everything via a patch, via constant internet connection, there is no longer that hard deadline. Because
Yeah.
when I was younger, when I was a whippersnapper, you would buy a disc at a store, and if that game was not completed on the disc, you were pretty much shit out of luck and jolly well fucked. Like that's how games work. Now games are different. So, just what do you
Yeah.
think? Because you're a modern gamer, and sort of, how are you feeling about how games? There's positives like online games like GTA
Yeah.
Online, Red Dead Online, but I feel like there's a lot of negatives like games come out broken and in pieces.
No, yeah, you're right. It does kind of take away from that deadline that you said. A lot of the games nowadays, they have that because they have the ability to do it. I almost feels kind of like they'll just be like, maybe not the smaller like devs, maybe like indie devs or anything, right? But like
Mm,
the larger companies will probably just be like, we'll fix it on a patch,
yeah,
right? Like, do we have a game? Yes. Is
yeah,
it functional? No. Just release it. you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
And now I can't say that it's probably the actual devs,
Mm-hmm.
in but sadly it's kind of how it is, right? You see, like you said, Cyberpunk. Another one is like Battlefield. I was actually pretty excited for that game
Yeah.
because I was like, I haven't played Battlefield in a long time. The last two were, mixed. Um, and I was excited for it. And look how it is. It's definitely not a completed game.
Yeah. I mean, the list goes on, right? Like, I feel like, and I know that there's probably going to be people who might re-at me for what I'm about to say, but I feel like Skyrim and Bethesda games, right? The brokenness of those games, people took it with, like, oh, it's a Bethesda game, right? They sort of excused them for, like, oh, it's not Skyrim if there isn't a bug. I feel like that's not the approach to take. Like, yes, Skyrim is a great game, but I feel like that approach sort of excused Bethesda. But I think Bethesda belongs in their own little box. But I do feel like it's not the devs. I think it's the publishers. The overarching, the corporations that have to answer to shareholders, that have to answer to, people, show a profit. You need to release this game. And I understand where that's sort of coming from, right? Like, I get it. You can't keep pouring money down a hole. You can't endlessly... Right. Like, there are studios, like, if you look at Anthem, which, to me... Yeah, right. You could do a whole episode on Anthem, but...
R.I.P. to Anthem, Like, that was another game that was super hyped. Because, it was BioWare, coming out with some, like, a new IP. And, like, everyone was so excited for it, I mean, you being able to be an Iron Man, right? Yeah. Pretty much. And, it's sad. It really does suck whenever... especially for games that are new, right? Yeah. Like a new project, because you're kind of like, if you like the lore or whether it's the gameplay or whatever, but then it just goes away, that kind of sucks,
Yeah. No, and I will say, like, I mention this every time Cyberpunk gets brought up. I had a very smooth experience with Cyberpunk, but my experience was very, very unique, and I understand that. And that's the problem with it. Like, Cyberpunk was massively hyped. It was... Oh, yeah. I mean, it was way hyped. And, talking about Anthem, like, I understand where EA's coming from as well, and I never thought I'd say those words. I feel like I should scrub my tongue. But I understand where EA's coming from. You're pouring money into this project. Like, how many years was Anthem in development? And by the time it's, you're a few years away, you're a year and a half away, whatever it was, and they don't even have a playable build. Like, at some point, you're just like, all right, no, just do something. Do something.
Yeah, exactly. And it goes back, it kind of ties back to what you were saying, where at that point you're like, well, we'll just fix it in a patch. You know, which is what the whole game was pretty much. It was its whole life. It was like that, Yeah. The whole life of the game was literally like patch after patch after patch until it was like, yeah, let's scrap it.
Yeah.
Because the thing about Anthem is they even went into a whole, like, let's get a whole team to fix the game. Like, let's make a dedicated team to redo the game, and we'll do Anthem 2.0 or whatever, right?
Yeah, I think that's what they were trying to call it.
And I guess it was just too much to fix, or maybe there was just nothing that they could do, and they were just like, you know what, we don't want to spend the resources on this, and they scrapped it.
I think had Anthem been a project years ago before you can patch post-release, it would have gotten canceled. I think it would have gotten canceled.
Exactly.
Outright.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's part of the culture issue with the corporate gaming culture. It's we're gonna get something. And what I hate about it, because I understand where they're coming from, but at the same time I hate that they're preying on people's expectations. They're preying on people's optimism. They're preying on the fact that somebody is going to be optimistic enough to say, well, maybe it's not that bad, and they'll buy it. And it's sad because Anthem, as much as I don't like Anthem because they took from Mass Effect Andromeda for Anthem.
Exactly.
I will never forgive them for that.
You could definitely tell that was a big problem there, like that affected the game for sure.
Yeah, and as a sort of or as a huge Mass Effect fan, I will never forgive Anthem for that. So that it died a slow, painful death, I'm not disappointed. Okay?
Yeah, I understand.
I feel for the people whose jobs were impacted and whose lives were impacted. I feel for them. But no, you get what you deserve. Sorry, game gets what it deserves. It's not their fault.
Yeah.
But so I think the issue of just like we're gonna get something out of it. We put all this money in. I understand, but I also don't mind delays. I'm okay with delays. I mean, Halo Infinite, which we're going to talk about in the next block, got delayed a full year, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and Cyberpunk got pushed back a bunch, but I don't mind a delay. Take an extra, Dying Light 2, which I haven't had a chance to play, but I've heard from people who've played it that it's not a bad game, technically speaking. Perhaps there's some story issues that maybe they wouldn't have changed differently, but it's subjective, I feel like. But they pushed that game back a bunch, and they even went silent for a while. Like they just were silent.
You even thought like you could even think that it was like canceled or something, because it was like, what happened?
Yeah,
it was like in major development, and then it just went super quiet. Like they didn't even say nothing.
Yeah,
but you kind of feel for them a little bit, on the optimistic side, because it's like they did go quiet and everything, and then they slowly technically put out a game that's not as broken, I guess you could say, like other games, right?
Yeah.
And like mostly it's probably like the choices or whatever you do in the actual game, right?
Yeah.
And I have heard from people who have played it as well, where it's like it's like the technical issues aren't too bad. It's mostly like just certain things that they would, like you said, that they would change in the game, right?
Yeah.
Which I think that's a lot better than just having a game that you'd have to fix patch after patch.
Yeah, right. But take note of what you just said, though, right? We're both gamers. We're both avid gamers. Like I can't really see it off screen, but I have the Master Chief helmet like right here. We are avid gamers, right? You can see your background. But what did you just say? It's a game that's not as broken as others, and that's what's acceptable. That's what's passing nowadays.
Exactly. You're right. But it's like you said, it's almost inevitable, because it's like, well, they have the technology to do that now, right? Like back then, it was like, it's in the game, it's in the disc, it's all done, everything is in the actual game.
Yeah.
And that's it, right? And now it's like, oh, okay, well, something's messed up. Okay, well, I mean, I'm sure it won't be a problem. Push the game out, and we could do a day one patch or something like that, right?
Right.
And then you do a day one patch, and the game's still broken.
Well, the day one patch then breaks something else, which is the
exactly.
Which is what happens with coding, right? I'm not like this. I don't know. I know very little about coding. Like a girl one time in college showed me her coding homework, and I was like, "What is this? This is what the hell is this?" Like I thought she was being contacted by Mars, but. When you input something into a code, a bunch of different things come out, and some of those things can break something else. I mean, how many games have we played that have had a patch that broke something else?
That's true, yeah.
Right? So it's like, I think
it's like, oh man, I wish you never patched the game.
Right. It's like, it's like that you said, that it's the inevitability, I think, is the sad part. It's the saddest part of the reality. Like, yeah, it is an inevitability that we're going to get broken-ass games that are just going to have to get better over time, and it's sad. I think that's a sad state of affairs. Like, for me, if you're an indie game, like, I think Phasmophobia was an indie game, if I'm not mistaken. That, to me, is that's how indie games should work. It was a beta. If you played it like I did back at the end of 2020, start of 2021, and you're playing it now, very different games, and the game is way more stable and more fun and more, but that's an indie team. Major AAA games shouldn't be going through that.
That's the crazy part, right? Like, yeah, you could probably say, oh, well, they put their games on early access, right? Okay. But at least they actually label it that, and not like these companies who put their games out that should be early access. Because literally when, like, there's so many games that come out, and it's like, we're playing like the beta. Like, we're the beta testers, except we paid for this. You know what I mean? Like, you paid money to play the actual game, and in reality, you're playing like a beta because it's not completed.
And I wished I would be okay. I would be better with, say, Cyberpunk, right? Cyberpunk comes out and says, all right, you can pay $60. This is the unstable beta build. You can pay $60 now, and you'll get the next 3 or 4 DLCs for free. Or you don't buy it now. You buy it, when we patched it through and everything, we call it the stable alpha build. If you buy it in that phase, you have to pay for the DLC. So give the people who are willing to put up with the bugs and be the beta testers, be the guinea pigs, give them something. I think if that's the exchange, I'm okay. I'm more okay with it. I still think complete a game, then put it out, but if you want to do it that way, give something to the people who believe in your game, who believe in your vision, who believe in what you're doing. Give something to them who are going to put up with crashes and T-poses and bugs and things not working, and like give something to them.
True, I can see that, yeah. And like we go back with that where it's kind of like, I mean, it's not necessarily like the devs' fault, because I'm sure I'm not a developer, I'm not programmer or anything. I don't know how, or I'm to make a game at all, right?
Yeah.
But I'm sure it's pretty tough. I know a few
Yeah.
people who are in the industry, and it's like, I know it's tough.
Yeah.
And it takes so much time, and it's just that them pushing it, and it's not necessarily their fault. Sometimes I don't know who, but like you said,
Right.
it could be mostly like the publishers,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It sucks though.
It does.
That's just what it is. It sucks.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they don't want to release a game like that either, right?
No, I mean the project manager and developer of Fallout 76, of Anthem, of Cyberpunk, of all of these broken games that you can think of, that's on their resume. That's their record. Like you're
That's
gonna go
true.
hire this person, and you just look at their thing, and they're like project manager Anthem. Oof. Okay then.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll give you like the Lego set to play with in the corner. Like, I don't know that I want you to helm this project. Look, if I'm running a game development company and I have this IP, and the project manager of Anthem comes to me looking for a job, I need to look at their whole resume. So I know that the devs don't want to do this. I know the devs don't want to put out broken games. They're humans, but it's the sad state of affairs, and I hate that gaming is like that, because gaming is an escape for me personally, and I know for a lot of people. And the fact that it's become this corporate thing where you have these corporations that are just like shove anything out the door because we have shareholders to answer to, it sucks because it's hurting the product overall.
And that's the crazy part, right? Like I honestly, when I was younger, like I never imagined games would be like this, right? Like,
yeah.
Where they're like a lot more serious and business wise and everything. I always thought it was all like entertainment. Not, I mean, obviously I was a kid, but I never thought they would become this how it is now.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. Like pushing it, and for the stakeholders and all that.
Yeah. My first experience with like real understanding the scope and magnitude of games was Grand Theft Auto 3. Because New Year's of 2001, I searched all over New York City. Couldn't find one. Only one place had it, and the guy had it under the counter. He's like, nope, this is mine. I'm keeping it for me. I went to malls all over New York City. I went Queens, Brooklyn, Staten Island, Manhattan. Couldn't find a copy of Grand Theft Auto 3. So that was when I understood that this is more than just a little thing. Like that's when it dawned on me. Was that, and then I got chickenpox a week later, and my brother found a copy and gave it to me, and I spent the first week of 2002 just playing Grand Theft Auto 3. So, but yeah, that's the gaming culture. And so, speaking of the gaming culture, there's a big release, because one of the things that came out sort of half baked and broken was Marvel's The Avengers. That went over like a wet fart in church. So. But they bounced back with, I broke BB. God, 18 minutes in and I broke him. Got him.
I just don't get it. Like, why are you like this?
So, one of the games that they bounced back with Guardians of the Galaxy, and now there's I don't think it's the same studio. It's WB.
No, yeah, this one would be for DC.
Yeah. So
for DC.
So you were telling me about a game that's got pushed back and all of that. So
yes,
you have the story. So take it away.
Yeah, Suicide Squad. It was. I think it was shown 2021 around there, or 2020, right? And they had a release window for 2022 this year.
Right.
I believe that from what I was reading is that it said that it was going to be probably like in like the last quarter of 2022. But now it was delayed again. No, and actually this is first time, sorry.
Right.
First time it was delayed till 2023. Now they do have two other games that they're currently working on right now, which is going to be the Hogwarts Legacy and the Gotham Knights as well. They haven't said anything whether they're pushing it back, They did confirm though that they said that it's in the 2022 window again. But I mean that is what they said with Suicide Squad as well.
Right.
Now, with this game, it's a lot of popular going around right now because it was I think it's from Rocksteady, which is like known for the Batman Arkham games, which are incredible.
Yeah.
Right. So it's gonna be like the newest addition to the Rocksteady group. But I mean, how do you like when you hear a delay? What does that make you feel like? You know, because like there's so many games nowadays that are delayed, right? Like
right.
For many reasons, but we've seen games come out even after they've been delayed for production and all this, and they still come out, you know.
Yeah, so
kind of messed up.
My feel on it is sort of, it depends on the title. Like, this is Suicide Squad. This is, you know, it's got marquee value to it. Like, I know that the Avengers coming out the way it did, but I think Guardians of the Galaxy shows that you can do one of these kind of games right. And I think WB is kind of like, maybe we can get on it. So, like, I know that they're going to want to push for the game's eventual release. So I'm not concerned about a cancellation. I'm concerned about when you have a delay, like a full year delay, because now they're saying, 2023, right?
Yes.
So they're pushing it now. We're only in February. So you're telling me this game that was supposed to be in this window of 2022 is so behind in where it should be that you're going to push it back an entire, at minimum, 8 months? That means to me that there's probably something more serious that they need to fix, or they're retooling something, which I'm cautiously optimistic. Maybe they're retooling something that's broken and doesn't work, but it could also be that they're retooling something that breaks something else, and it's going to be one of those things where, well, shit, we delayed it once, it's broken, you know, let's push it out and fix it, patch, like we just said last segment, which is kind of why we bridged the segments together, because I worry like that. That's what worries me. I'm generally someone who says, take your time, make the game as good as you need to make it. Now, if it's between, I think before before the end of March 2023, I think it's still fiscal year 22.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what they're doing. They say, you know what, let's take the whole fiscal year to polish it.
Yeah.
That's also a cautiously optimistic view to take. Perhaps that's what it is. But I generally get a little bit of worry, because while I feel like you should take the time to make it right, I don't think that's exactly why they delay things. They delay things because it's really broken and they need to fix it as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
What about you? Like, how does it make you feel? Because I feel like you play more of the superhero games because you did stream Guardians of the Galaxy a bit. I don't know if you intended to play this Justice League game, but I feel like it would probably be up your alley. So
yeah, I mean, I enjoy like the DC and like universe and like the Marvel stuff, right? Superhero stuff. But with this one, I wasn't like necessarily like too like super excited. I was kind of like, oh, I mean, it'd be cool to have like a new like pretty much IP, I guess you could say, because it's not Batman, right? Because that's usually how the route they would go. It's just like Batman. So I was excited for that because it's not Batman. It's something, not that I don't like Batman, but like just new characters, something different, something different, right? So that's the only reason why I was really excited for it. Them pushing it back, like you said, that creates that whole like that what you were saying before, where it's like you're kind of hopeful. We're like, oh, well, they're taking the time to like make sure this game is good. But we've been here before, right? We've been here before. Not only one, this is the first delay. So if it's just one delay and it comes out polished and everything, well, then we'll know eventually, right? Like that's the reason why they did it, because they wanted to make sure it comes out solid. But like I said, we've had that whole thing come around where it's like delay it for 4 months, 5 months, a whole year, and then it's still like, you know, almost as if it's still in active development right when it releases.
Right.
So who knows? I mean, I don't want to be hopeful because, like I said, I'm not. It's not that I'm not excited for the game, but I'm just like in that whole like medium of like, well, it's another this is just another delayed game.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I feel like you got burned a lot because I think was it 3 games that you were really excited for in 2021 all came out kind of like
Yes.
Yeah, they all came.
They came out pretty broken.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, I think with like 2021, like the games that were coming out, I'm now a little bit more like relaxed and not too worried when games are delayed, because I'm just like, well, I mean, I'll just see when it drops,
Right.
because you know, if they need the time, that's obviously something good.
Yeah.
But if it's just gonna be just like you said, like just to push it back, because you know they're it's completely broken and they just want to seem like they're actually, you know, trying to fix it or something like that, then
Yeah. It the thing is like delays in and of themselves are not bad. It's the reason behind it. Like there can be a good reason for a delay, but then there could also be like a shit, this is delayed because it's broken, and they're just
it's
putting
like it to me it's like it's kind of like, oh yeah, we're supposed to release this.
Yeah.
Can you push it back real quick?
Yeah, like it's
You
like
know?
when you ask for an extension on your homework. You wait. You're going to bed like the day before or you're like it's 3:00 in the afternoon the day before the assignment is due, and you're like, oh shit, that's a 15-page paper, and I just have my name on there. Can I have an extension? You know,
That reminds me of Anthem, dude. Like when Anthem was coming out, and like everything they showed at like the E3 and everything, it was technically all built just for E3. It wasn't even it wasn't even part of the actual game.
Yeah.
And then the release window comes down, and it made me feel like that, where it's like, oh snap, I forgot.
Yeah.
We're supposed to release Anthem.
I think I read something along the lines where they were like, the devs were watching that like, wait, this is in the game, and they're the guys
Yeah, they're like,
making the
wait,
game.
what trailer? They're like looking at the trailer. Yo, the trailer looks good.
Yeah.
What game is that from? Like,
like-
oh shit, that's Anthem. What the?
That's the one we're working on. Oh fuck.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so hopefully the Suicide Squad game comes out and it's not broken. Hopefully it's more in the vein of Guardians of the Galaxy and less in the vein of the Avengers.
I mean, like that's the thing about that is like Guardian of the Galaxy was a pretty solid game. It did have its issues, minor like technical, where it was like controllers not syncing,
Yeah.
buttons weren't like, you know, because I had
Yeah.
those issues, and they're like minor glitches, but overall it was a great experience.
Yeah, but I mean,
But here's the thing, real quick, like if you think about that game, I didn't even know that game was coming out.
same.
I just like randomly saw it somewhere when they
Yeah.
started like amp up the marketing, and I was like, "There's a Guardians of the Galaxy game coming out? What?"
But I think
Now,
that's
could you
how do
compare
it.
that, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying, right? Like comparing that to an actual like AAA game where it's like, oh, you've been waiting for like 7 years, and then it comes out, and you're like, what the heck is this? Like,
Yeah.
it's not what I thought this was gonna be.
Yeah, treat games like found money. Like announce that a game is happening, but don't overdo the tease. Because I think Avengers overdid the tease.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
I remember
for sure.
that teaser trailer that came out like a year and a half before the game came out, and the game apparently was something completely different. And so I got sort of debated. I didn't buy the game because once they were like it's like a live service, whatever. I'm like, nope, no, go away, go away.
It's a Destiny, but for
Yeah, we know my feeling on Destiny. I've gotten some
Destiny, but
feedback.
Marvel's Avengers.
I've gotten some feedback on my Destiny takes from last week. But
Oh,
that is hopefully the game comes out and it's good, and that is sort of our take on the gaming culture. But sort of transitioning, we are, as of this recording, about 48 hours ahead of Super Bowl 56, and it is a huge thing in America. It's almost a national holiday. Now, I'm not a super football fan, and don't at me. It's football, okay? It's football. I don't want to hear anything like it's not football. It's football. I'm not a super huge football fan. Basketball is really more my sport, but the Super Bowl in America is sort of a cultural event. The commercials, people watch who don't watch sports. They watch for all different reasons. Like I like the commercials and all this other stuff.
Yeah, I like the commercials too. They have some super funny ones. Sometimes.
Right. So, sort of, we're gonna do a thing where we're gonna predict a winner because we want to see who's right and who's wrong next week. Right. That's the whole goal of it's the whole goal of this thing. So I'm gonna turn the floor over to you, BB. Who do you think comes out of Super Bowl 56? It's Cincinnati Bengals versus the Los Angeles Rams in Los Angeles in the Los Angeles Rams Stadium. So who do you think comes out with the Lombardi Trophy?
Come on, look, yo, I have to say, I know that the Rams are gonna be favored or are favored, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they got the home turf and everything, so you know everyone's gonna be lit over there. Okay, everyone's gonna be like, it's gonna go down, right?
All right.
But I gotta give it to the Bengals. It's gonna go. It's gonna be the Bengals.
All right.
I know for sure. I got this gut feeling, and not saying that all my gut feelings are actually, right, but but you know what? Just for that, just to all the Rams haters come at me, yo.
I
Bengals gonna take it.
I think the Rams win it 30-27.
It's gonna be. I bet you it's gonna be an upset, yo. Like, I know that the Rams are favored. It's gonna be something where you're just gonna be like, what, how, and why. That's what's gonna happen.
I am a fan of storylines. I don't care for teams particularly. Like, I like the Seattle Seahawks really, but I don't really care for teams. I don't live and die by teams. I like the stories. Like, I don't care who wins this game. I'll be happy either way, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
because
exactly. Yeah,
the
same.
Cincinnati Bengals, they haven't been in, I think, a Super Bowl since before I was even born. And and then you have the Rams with like Odell Beckham Jr. and his whole thing, and Matthew Stafford, who suffered in Detroit, for a while. So like, no matter who wins, it's going to be a fun story. So I'm happy either way, but I think the Rams are going to win it. I will say, of the two Ohio teams, I like Cincinnati, but I kind of always hoped the Browns would make the Super Bowl because that's a poop joke. You do understand that?
My God.
You do know that's a euphemism.
How?
Well, when you're going to go, use the bathroom and do number 2, you say, I'm going to take the Browns to the Super Bowl. So,
no.
I always hope the Browns could make it. Just so we could say the Browns are going to the Super Bowl, baby. It's one big poop joke, but they're not going to make it. But put a pin in that, everybody who's watching and who hasn't lost their lunch or meal that they've just eaten. BBs say the Bengals. I have the Rams. We'll find out next week who predicted correctly. But now we'll move on to the thing that you and I think, are most excited to talk about. The thing that I think will probably fill out the next 30-plus minutes because it is something that we are quite passionate about, and that is Halo Infinite.
Yes. Halo Infinite. Wow.
Yeah.
Just saying it makes me happy and cringe at the same time.
So we're streamers, BB&J and I, and we each have a respective Discord. And in my Discord, there was a conversation about Halo that kind of, I won't lie, it took me by surprise. And I'm gonna throw to you to give us the statistics in a moment, but there's some very avid Halo fans in our community. Really, really, like, I would say almost diehard Halo fans in our community. And to read what they were saying, sort of the disappointment in their voice and overall in how Halo Infinite has been, I will say is kind of surprising. Because, Halo Infinite sort of, they surprise released the multiplayer, and that became a whole thing in the Discord.
Oh gosh,
where we were playing. Yeah, exactly. It was an event.
I mean, I won't lie. It was epic. It was pretty epic. Everyone was. It kind of felt like when you were watching E3 or something, right? Back in the day. Now that E3's been like kind of hasn't been a thing for a while, right?
Yeah.
But it was almost like that, where you were like, "Oh my gosh, what are they gonna announce? What are they gonna announce?" Right? And like, I still remember everyone like in the chat and we were all just kind of like, "You think they're gonna announce Halo Infinite multiplayer?" Right? Everyone was cheesing and everything. It was so cool, and they finally announced it. And since that day, it was like the most epic thing that. I feel like the Discord there, right? How everyone came together and was like, let's play this.
I mean, there were people who were working, day jobs, office jobs, who sort of, like, suddenly the productivity went...
Suddenly was like, oh, yeah, actually, I just got off work. Like, wait, what? Did you just get work?
It's 10 a.m. How did you just get off of work? I was like, calling their boss, like, I can't come in today. I can't work today. So... It was really an epic happening. It was a sort of a community event. It was spontaneous too, as somebody posted in the Discord, and then people were like, "Oh, is it a thing?" And then we opened up the Twitch channel because it was streaming on Twitch, and it was kind of like rumors were abound that they would that they were going to release the multiplayer, and then they did, and then like people were like, "Can I download it? I got it on Game Pass. I got it on Steam. I can't download it." And then we got through that, and people were downloading it. and it was just wrecking sleep schedules. People were playing. It was a whole thing.
Don't even remind me, man. Don't even remind me. I think I went like 3-4 days without like actually getting sleep.
Yeah, I remember, and it became kind of a joke of the uno mas. One more game, one more. Uno mas is Spanish for one more. So we would just be playing a game, and you would start at like 9:30 in the evening, and before you realize it's 3 a.m. and you've been playing for a while, and you're like, oh god, I gotta go to sleep. But uno mas. And then that turns into you can't end on a loss, that kind of thing, and alcohol gets involved, and then just people start. It's just becomes such this community thing. So Halo, that part of the Halo Infinite story was my favorite. That release in early November to like early December. That month,
almost felt like a midnight release.
Exactly.
Where it was like, oh my gosh, everybody get on, like on Halo, and it was a good time.
It was, and then the campaign release. Now, I have not played the campaign. I don't know. I can't speak to its quality. I want to put that out there right now. I can't speak to its quality. I don't know the campaign. I'm waiting for the co-op to come out, which is something that I'm going to get into. I'm going to throw to BB, give statistics, but I'm going to throw into the a la carte release of it that kind of annoys me a little bit. And so I don't know anything about the campaign. But when it released, I feel like it broke so many things. And the hype and the intrigue of it seemed to go down. And now you were looking at some of the Steam charts. Now, of course, Steam charts is just one platform. It doesn't count for the overall thing people playing on Xbox and other things. But you have some statistics.
I think it's pretty important because, I mean, there's a lot of people who love using Steam, right? Especially if you're a PC player, right?
Yeah.
So we have an all-time peak here of 269,176 all-time.
Right.
For players on November 16, 2021.
Right.
And that was what, I guess the first or second day it was released, maybe? Or maybe it was the first day?
Was it not a week? Because we did the Halo tournament that Saturday after it released.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So that Saturday was the 17th or whatever. So I think it was like within a week of release. It wasn't too long after release, but it was within a week of release. And that's expected. So I don't think anybody would expect it to keep that number.
Exactly, yeah. And then as the months kind of started going, right, it's literally a steady decline. Like, it went from that all the way down to, on the 22nd, it went down to 169,000.
Right.
Then it went back up. I'm assuming somewhere around that we had like an update, I
think the campaign,
or maybe the event, or okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So it went back up to 213,000, right?
Right.
And then and then it just keeps going down. And then the last time it was kind of like at a peak, it was 146,000 on December 8th. Okay. And I believe there was the events, those events were happening.
It's the Fiesta,
right?
I think, something like that.
Mm-hmm. And then from there, it just slowly declined till now, which is the player base, and that's at 13,825.
Now, I want to preface by saying, obviously, the peaks are the peaks, right? Like, that's the highest you're going to get. Nobody expects it to stay at that 200,000 mark, right?
Yeah,
Nobody.
of course.
That's not sustainable. But when you read to me that the current player base is in 13,000, that made me really shocked. But then when you told me what its peak was, that made me even more shocked. Because, like, if you just said, oh, its peak was like, 50,000, and now it's at 13,000. It's like, all right,
it makes sense.
Yeah, that's the typical slippage you'd expect. But you're talking about over 200,000 people that were playing at its second peak when the campaign released.
Yeah,
have stopped. 200,000 people at one point played Halo Infinite and stopped for one reason or the other. And I think, to borrow a quote from somebody who was in the Discord, I think they put it, paraphrasing because I don't remember the exact quote, but I just want this game to be good. It can be so good, but it just doesn't want to be. Like, I just want this game to be good. And I think reading that, because like even I loved Halo Infinite, but my interest kind of tapered off. It's just like I don't really feel like playing it anymore. And I think because it came out a la carte, because it came out in pieces, because while multiplayer is fun, I like the multiplayer. I can't do that all day. I don't care to grind. I don't care for the battle pass. I don't care for these things. So right now, that's all I can do because I co-stream Halo with Sir Grexy, and we both agreed that we're going to go into the campaign blind together. We can't do that. The game did not release with a co-op.
Like, I mean, can you believe it's Halo?
I can't believe this is a AAA game. Like, the game did not... think about that. It didn't release with a co-op. It didn't release... It released in multiplayer first. Now, I understand that it released it first and free so it could charge a battle pass and it's separate. Okay, if that's your business model, fine. But its full game at $60 was not complete.
No. Yeah.
It released in pieces. That is not how you do it. Like, I can't believe... okay, I liked Halo Infinite, so I kind of let it go. But when I think about it, it makes me... it drives me insane. How is this a AAA game? How is this a game... I
totally understand.
Right. How is this... Forge, which is one of the multiplayer components to it, is not releasing until God knows when. And the multiplayer component, maybe May. Maybe, if we're lucky. It blows my brain that that's accepted and okay. And no wonder 200,000 people have said, nah, I'm good. I'm not... I don't know that they'll ever get those people back. You'll get some...
I don't know. I was thinking about that, right? When I was like, okay, well, maybe we'll see a peak, a bigger peak when co-op releases, obviously, right?
Yeah.
But to the extent of where we were, I don't think so. Because that's the thing is, like, once you leave a game, it's really hard to get back into it. Unless it's, like, they had, changed something massive, right?
Right.
Because here you're thinking, okay, it's co-op. Okay, if you play the campaign already, right? Especially if you play the campaign, then you're just kind of like, well, I play the campaign.
Yeah.
Right? And then it's like, okay, now they added co-op. Well, do I really want to play the campaign again after, more than 6 months, right? I don't know. If you're a hardcore fan and maybe you want to, in your case, right?
Yeah.
You're waiting for it.
Yeah.
To play with Greki, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you'll get that specific player base back, right? That actually want to play the game together.
Right.
But if you're someone who's already done all these things, you probably won't come back for that.
Well, how many people can come back? How many people are in that slice of pie, right? I know I'm not the only one, right? I know I'm not the only one that's waiting for co-op. There are duos out there. So you're going to get maybe, I would say, generously, and you could put this down, mark it down, note it. It's on video. I think the next peak, you're going to get 46,000. That's the highest it's going to get. You're going to get 46,000 because that's what's left. Because this game, as much as I love Halo Infinite, and I love the gameplay of it, I don't know the story. Maybe the story's going to piss me off something fierce. I can't speak to it.
Yeah.
But I love the gameplay, but it's just infuriating that this was how they decided to do things. They delayed a year for this. Yeah. How much longer does it take to make co-op? Now, I understand that there's no save. You can't just start at a mission or start at a checkpoint. You can't... From what I understand, you just continue.
Yeah. Right.
What is that? This is not...
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff they were talking about how it was they didn't want to make it too easy to spawn, but also not too hard. And I was like, what? Just spawn them.
This is...
And I can't speak for that because, I mean, I'm not, like I said, I'm not a developer. I don't know the crazy stuff behind it. But, they're veterans with co-op. That's their whole thing. You know what I mean? That's their main thing. Co-op is Halo. So it's crazy to see that they had difficulties with that. It makes me sorry. It just makes me. It makes me think what someone had said in our community had said that where it was I wonder, I really do wonder what Halo would have been like if it was never delayed.
Halo Punk 2077.
Yeah, I just want to know. I wanted to know what were they gonna give us, for that. And with them delaying it, in the beginning, someone else had said this in the community, and they were saying that the issues were always there when the game released.
Yeah,
the issues were always there.
Yeah.
The problem is that it was masked by having fun with your friends. That's literally what I think someone had said it in chat. I know someone said it in chat, but I can't remember who it was. But shout out to you if you know or you said that, because that's literally so true.
Yeah.
I had so much fun Even with all the broken stuff, I had so much fun playing the game when it released. But then slowly, as you start to get downtime, not everyone can play at the same time, right? And you start to look at the actual model of the game. You start to look at the glitches, the battle pass, the leveling up in the XP, how much things cost in the store, right?
It's a ripoff. It's highway robbery.
And I mean, you know, you gotta, like, the devs are trying their best to be you know, to talk with the community and everything and trying to fix. I mean, they recently just lowered the prices on there, right? But like, a lot of these things happen in the beginning. That's where it counts, right? I mean, like, that's why we're at 13K right now. You know,
the thing that I'll say is, yeah, we were having fun with friends. Like, we were playing a lot together. But how many times you were there and I was there? How many times is everybody like, oh, getting connection, Alt F4 and restart? How many times did that happen in the initial, you know, but you're so excited to play that you're just like, I'll put up with it. But it's like,
exactly.
Like, okay, I understand that there's going to be some bugs with games. Like, I understand the nature of games as they get more complex, the hardware gets, you know, more, whatever, there's going to happen. I allow for some. Like, I will allow for some bugs, connection issues, whatever. But they tried to reinvent the wheel. Halo is not an MMO. Halo is not a live service game. Yeah. Halo is not some freaking 10-year plan. Let's try to be Destiny. No. Stop it. It is not. That's not what Halo is. There is literally 5 to 6 games. I think 6 if you count Reach. There's 6 games before this Halo that will tell you that's not what Halo is. Halo is just a shooter. You go, you co-op with a buddy, you shoot, or you do it yourself, but you get levels, stages, and you, like, this isn't this thing where, like, let's try to be like everybody else. Stop trying to be like everybody else. Yeah. It's what infuriates me. And now you've released a broken game in pieces. You are streaming the campaign. Right, and obviously no spoilers. And please, if anybody is in the comments, please don't spoil. I've not seen the campaign. I don't want to see anything. But you were streaming the campaign, and you stopped streaming the campaign.
Yeah,
like that.
I just had too many issues with optimization. Like, it's just not. It wasn't. It just wasn't optimized. Like, and now you could say maybe it's my fault, technical issues, right? Or maybe my PC can't handle it, or whatever the case is, right? But like, I mean. It's still not an excuse for it not to function properly. They had current patches to fix certain things in the campaign as well. Yeah. So you're right. You just got to that point where you're just kind of like, that was me in my case, because of the issues I was having. I was like, I'll just either play this whenever there's a patch or something that optimizes it a lot better, or I'll just play this on my own, right?
And that's how you get to 13,000 current players.
And yeah, exactly.
That's how you...
And the thing is too, is like what I was seeing in how the game was released and everything, like, it's just crazy the way that they've done this new business plan, right? Or like their whole like battle pass thing, right? I remember that they were talking about a long time ago, where they were like saying that most of the battle pass, right, items, or not necessarily battle pass items, but most of the customization was unlocked through in-game.
Right, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I remember that.
In-game and all this, right? And then they were saying how you can be your own Spartan and everything. It is not like that. It is literally like you have to go in and get certain like the color palettes don't pertain to every Spartan or every armor core, right?
Yeah.
Like you have to go and get the same color palette for your other armor sets, or you have to pay for this and it's only for this specific. Like, where you know what's crazy to me? Reach had a great customization options, right? But to me is, how do you go from MCC, right, to this? Because that's literally their last game. If you want to, quote unquote, game, is MCC. That's what they were working on for a long time, and they were trying to optimize it, and it's great.
Yeah,
MCC is actually
MCC.
Great. I like the way they did everything. I like the way you unlock stuff. I like the challenges that actually reward you the right way, and you get to decide, I wanted this for my Spartan.
Yeah.
Not, and it's just crazy the switch they went from MCC to Infinite.
And I mean, MCC, the PC port, like, has is I love it. Like
Yeah.
I you I just want to say one of the things. I just want to paint a picture for everybody. And anybody who's going to tell me, and I don't think that there's going to be many people, but just in case, is anybody is going to be like, well, it's not that bad because X, Y, Z. I want to paint a picture for everybody. Imagine I tell you, before Halo Infinite released, right? Imagine I tell you, guess what the next Battlefield, guess what the next Call of Duty is going to do, guess what the next Star Wars Battlefront is going to do. They're going to give you the multiplayer broken, busted, and uneven battle pass system that if you don't buy it, you could unlock things, but you can't use them because that's what happened to me. I unlocked almost everything, but I can't use it because I don't have a battle pass. Then, a month later, they're going to release the campaign. That's going to break the multiplayer in some respects. But co-op, no. Wait. Co-op is coming even later at an unknown date. If this was EA, if this was Activision, if this was Bethesda, people would be burning them at the stake. 343 is escaping, I think, culpability here. Because this is, as much as I love Halo Infinite, and it sounds like I don't, I do love Halo Infinite from what I've played of it. This is not how you do it. And talking about, like, the gaming culture writ large at the start of the episode, I hope this isn't the thing going forward. I hope going forward other companies aren't like, well, I could give them breadcrumbs little by little and just, release a busted, broken battle pass system that, I'm sorry, it's not, like Apex Legends to me, yeah, you can make fun of Apex Legends, sure, fine, whatever. I played Apex Legends a lot in 2019. Mm-hmm. I did not spend a single dime in Apex Legends, and I unlocked all the legends. Yeah. I unlocked the skins. Sure, I had to play longer, but that's fine. Do it that way.
Exactly.
Do it that way where
you're exactly right.
You're encouraging speed, but not locking things away. Like, we have a friend, Fletman, who's, I think, who I look at as like Mr. Halo, right? And even he was like, when that samurai, this was early on, there was like a samurai armor set. You unlock the samurai armor set by doing the event. I did that, but you can't change the color, so it's the basic, color. And then the sword, that's like what everybody really wanted, $20 for a sword. For a sword, $20. No.
That you just put on your armor. That's it.
It serves no in-game functionality. Thank God it doesn't serve in-game functionality. Could you imagine? Yeah. Could you imagine paying $20 for a sword that's like
come and slice it through people?
Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, like it's a free-to-play model, right? But there's so many other models that are a lot better than this one. Especially like the way the time it takes for you to like unlock shit. Well, if you can even use it, right? If you don't have a battle pass, but yeah, you're right. It does take you so long to like level up. I mean, maybe a little bit less now because they have done updates. We can't deny they have done updates.
They've
right?
listened.
They have done updates. They are listening. They are trying to actively be there for the community and the gamers. But it's a long road, is what it is.
I'll give them credit for where credit is due. When the game first came out, people were kind of like, they didn't like the XP, the way it was being doled out. And they listened and they tweaked it. I'll give them all the credit in the world for that. Bravo. They do listen to the community. But also one thing, let's not kid ourselves here. When the game released, they didn't have a free-for-all mode. You couldn't, like...
They didn't have playlists.
Even the first thing that they released, the multiplayer that was supposed to be free, and the first thing to get people, even that wasn't complete. That wasn't even done. So, like, while I want to give them credit and I want to praise them for what they've done, they've been half-baked from the start, and it's because they tried to reinvent the wheel. I guarantee you, had they just released the traditional Halo in the traditional way, we would have been having a different conversation.
Yeah, they wanted to do the next generation Halo is pretty much, like when you were talking about the 10-year model. That's what their vision is like, how do we make this into Destiny?
Stop.
Right? Where it's like, I know exactly that like I just feel like Halo wasn't meant for that, right? It already had its tradition, which
Yeah.
was just you get to play and have fun, and everything works. Everything is, just enjoyable, right? Not this like, oh, I'm gonna go grind, and then you grind, and when you're finished grinding, you've unlocked nothing, or if anything, one item. Like it's really
Halo 1 released in 2001. That's 21 years ago. If you were born the day Halo was released, okay, not yet technically, but if you were born a few months before Halo 1 was released, you could probably drink, right, in America, because you're 21. Its campaign was a thing of beauty. Its campaign was chef's kiss. Halo 3, which was released 6 years later, so it's what now, 15 years ago? That's multiplayer. Halo 3 multiplayer to me is the standard.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
so,
for sure. For sure.
The blueprints were there, is why I get so upset. The blueprints for a great Halo were there. You have more technology at your disposal. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. You don't need to reinvent the business model, whatever it is. You have the things. You can tweak it. Update Halo 3's multiplayer and have that as Infinite's multiplayer. Look at what works with Halo 3's multiplayer. Look at what doesn't. Tweak a little things. Look at what worked with Halo 1's campaign, what didn't work. Tweak some things. Put it together. Yeah. Make the next gen game. Make it, longer or whatever. Stop trying to chase after this live service model bullcrap that doesn't how many live service model games actually work? You can argue Destiny, but no, Destiny, people say, even the people that like Destiny were like Destiny 1, but Destiny 2 is kind of trash. It doesn't work. Live service games do not work. They just don't work. Stop it. Stop. Get some help. Contain yourselves. Stop it.
I agree. Yeah, and the biggest thing too is like, I don't know. I feel like it could have worked a lot better if they would have done like I'm completely fine with like DLC stuff, which I am sure they're still going to do, right? After they've taken a whole journey of trying to fix the game, right? But it would be perfect if they would just release the campaign, release everything, traditionally, right? And then to make it different, add DLC, add these things. If you want to continue to make the game, stand out and have a longer, shelf life, right? Like, you want to add more content to it.
Yeah.
And you could still do that by adding it the traditional way, right? But making it into, I just feel like the Halo, it could, I know you probably get mad, but like, it could work as a live service. It could work. It's just not, I just don't feel like they went the right way.
I don't know any live service that has worked. So I don't think, I can't believe that it could work. It could be monetarily working, sure, fine. You get people to pump money into Destiny, fine. But that game is trash. That game is garbage. That game ass. I don't like that game. Okay? that game is a hot pile of booty.
That game was actually pretty good.
That game was horrifying. Do I need to go over some of the things I'd rather do? I'm sorry. I apologize. You asked me earlier why I am the way that I am. I understand why you are the way that you are. I put hours into Destiny.
Oh my gosh.
I can't. No live service game has worked as a way a game, in my opinion. It doesn't have to be. There should be MMOs. There should be online World of Warcraft is, no, I don't like it. But I understand that it works. People like it. People, fine, go play, have fun. C'est la vie. I don't care. There are games that work in this model financially, but they get boring after a while.
Exactly.
Halo has a campaign. Infinite has a campaign, right? It does end at some point, I'm assuming. Despite the name Infinite, it ends. There is a final moment. There is an end game to the campaign. So how is that going to last 10 years? Are you going to tell me that suddenly in, I don't know, a year and a half, they're going to be like, well, actually, what actually happened was, and it just, a story-driven game doesn't work as a live service model. It just, a story, if you're going to have a story, and Halo was known as one of those first-person shooters that was rich in story. If you're going to have a story game, you have to have an ending. Are you telling me that the game ends in a cliffhanger? Don't actually answer that. I don't want to know. But are you telling me the game ends in a cliffhanger and I got to wait some nebula amount of time before I can see what happens next? That doesn't work. Or is everything I do up to this point just going to not count in 3.5 years when part 2 comes out and we just find out that actually this guy hit his head on the ship and was sleeping and this was all a dream? Now starts the real campaign. It doesn't work. Live service games, if you want to do like an online, like the multiplayer, if they want to be like, that's your live service, fine, do that.
I mean, I believe that that's their main focus is the multiplayer. But seeing how the game is like released in pieces, right? I now at this point I think the whole game is like everything is live service, right? Like, so that's why I was saying, like, I believe that they're probably going to go that route where they're gonna release like expansions or create it like a mini MMO or something like that, where it's like, okay, now you get a new story or like Halo stories, right? It's not necessarily Look, I don't want to put it out there, but like, not necessarily Master Chief, but like, I don't know, some other Spartans or your own Spartan or whatever. That's just what I feel like they're probably gonna go.
I mean, ODST worked. Dude. Like, ODST, you're not the Master Chief, you're not a Spartan. Yeah. It worked, I'm not gonna lie. That worked. I don't know. I don't, like, if you want to do that as a side story, maybe. Mm-hmm. But to me, that doesn't have enough legs to last 10 years. You mean to tell me I'm going to buy the game for the Master Chief, play as him up until, like, a year from now, and then we're going to get the expansion to keep this 10-year live service going. We're going to get, now I'm playing as, you know, Carl Bob Danny Frank, the random Marine that was just in the background, like, polishing the Pelican hood, you know, and it's like, my time to shine, baby. And it's like, he's the guy. Spartan now. Yeah, like, look at me, I am the Spartan now. Like, I don't know that works. So,
my God.
I love Halo Infinite.
Okay, think about it now. Where do you see this game in 10 years?
In the ground? Like, look. It's gotten 13,000. It's dropped to 13,000 from the height that it was. Yes, I understand completely. The peaks are the peaks, right? If you look at every game, it has a peak, but it settles at a core base. Like New World, to me, which we're going to touch on in next week's episode teaser. New World has a settled player base. It is still declining, but it's kind of settled around a little bit, and I think it's higher than Halo Infinite. Hey, just do the math. From the campaign's release, I say this again because it's mind-boggling. Almost 250,000 people. Over 250,000 people were playing it, and basically 250,000 people, because the peak was 269, and now it's at 13. I think that's 19,000 over 250,000. So over 250,000 people at one point played Halo Infinite, and 250,000 people said no. At some point, got off the train.
I mean, if you think about it, the only time, honestly, that I've played Halo Infinite in the past month is when someone else is playing Halo.
Yeah.
If they are. But me actively going in and playing on my own, maybe once, maybe twice. Just to kind of like maybe catch up on what they updated, maybe to look at what's new in the store that I'm not going to buy, you know?
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Exactly, that you're not going to buy. I'm trying to think. Because the multiplayer was the only thing that I've played, there has not been a time in the past, since its release, that I think I've played on my own. Mm-hmm. Once I organized a stream to play. And I just want to put a thing about the bugs. I love the Discord integration, but the mere fact that it breaks Discord, sometimes, if you have a wireless set of headphones, it breaks your audio. You cannot hear Discord, and that's happened to several people. I joined a stream, a partnered streamer friend of mine. He was playing Halo, streaming it for the first time. It broke everything. It broke his entire setup after the stream. So like, this game is optimization, and this wasn't like this wasn't November, by the way. This was January, I believe. So this wasn't that long ago. This was like January or something like that. And it broke his whole... He had to rebuild his entire setup. So, this thing is just... I love Halo. I'm a huge fan of Halo. I will always love Halo. I've read the books. I watched some of the movies and, all this other stuff. But I can't support this release the way it is. Now, I will get the co-op campaign when it comes out. That's when... I haven't bought the game yet. I've not bought it because I have no purpose for it. So when the co-op comes out, it's supposed to be maybe May. We'll see. because the game keeps breaking. Because Big Team Battle was broken for a while, so we'll see.
Oh, for a while? What do you mean?
Is it still
broken?
There you go.
There's times where you just load into the game and there's like 4 people, and your whole party's still in the lobby.
Right. So maybe by May I'll be able to play the campaign, but I'm telling you right now, my prediction for the next peak, which will be its last peak, is 46,000. I think it'll peak at 46,000.
46.
Yeah, and then you'll get the people that'll co-op it and will finish it. I know I'm gonna finish it, but there are gonna be people that are gonna be turned off by it.
I honestly think that's pretty high. Like 40,000. I feel like that's too high. Like I don't. Maybe. I mean, I know I'll be playing it co-op just to to experience it with everyone, right?
Yeah.
But I don't even know if it'll reach that. It probably will, maybe a little higher. Who knows? But you're right. It's just been so long. Like this is what happens with games, that when you delay or you don't have something at the start, this happens.
Right.
Your decline just goes because you don't have any new content out there. There's nothing to keep you from playing, especially if you've already finished the battle pass, right?
Yeah.
What are you gonna do at that point? Like just like see what new bugs you can find, like at that point, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Like what are you doing at that point, right? So I don't know if it'll. I want it to. I really do. Like you said, I love Infinite. I really did love Infinite when it came out. Right now, not so much, because now I'm starting to see everything how it is. I'm starting to see that it's not completed, right?
Yeah.
And I just want it to work, but I think we're kind of far from that. Maybe too far. Maybe we won't get there. I don't know.
So how sometimes in life you get knocked on your ass to learn a lesson.
Mm-hmm.
I love Halo, I love Infinite, but I kind of don't want it to work because I think they need to be knocked on their ass. They need to learn their lesson. That no, this isn't how you do it. Like I think they need to. I hope somebody's looking at this player base, and they're like, "Whoa, this is bad." Because you are a AAA game that's got 13. I don't know what now. You go look. I'm sure Steam. Again, Steam is one thing, but it's still it's a microcosm of a larger issue. I feel like I'm sure if Xbox charts were out there, I'm sure they would show something similar. I highly doubt that on Xbox you still have 250,000 people playing or 100,000 people playing, and just suddenly on Steam there's only 13,000 people playing. I don't think that's the case, but maybe I could be wrong. But I hope somebody's looking at this and saying, "Wow, this is bad," because we're losing the player base, which is the money base. So I hope that happens, and I hope that people sort of make decisions going forward and are like, let's stop this whatever long arching, because they released some convoluted ass roadmap. Like, honestly, I love what happened in the Discord. I love everything that I've experienced with Halo, but I would have been happier had the whole game released in mass in May. Co-op, campaign, multiplayer.
You're right. I would have definitely loved it to
push it back.
Just come on.
Yeah, all at once. But we are an hour and 10 minutes into this episode again. We kind of did it again, but that's what happens. And I was very passionate with Halo. I woke up on some side of the bed today. I tell you, I woke up on the spicy meatball bed.
Oh my
side of the bed today. But we want to give our weird news and tease the next episode. Next episode, we're talking a little bit about some MMOs and some things, a new world specifically. And I know Lost Ark just came out, so we'll probably touch on that maybe a little bit. We'll figure some other things out, but you want to stay tuned. Next episode will be out next week. But it is time, as we like to sort of end on a lighter, happier note. It is the wider world of weirdness, as I like to call it, or something along those lines. I'm sure I acronymed it something else last week. But I throw it to you, BB, because I have a very interesting story that I think you're going to get a kick out of. And this time it's sourced from a real news organization. I'm not 100% sure where the last week's source came from, but go. The floor is yours.
Okay, so for this week, our weird news, I try and look I was trying to look to see if it was like an actual story. It looks like it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny. I mean, it is. It's not funny, but it's funny because like not the situation this man was in. It's pretty much what happens is, you know, he is collecting like some like driftwood or something like from after like a storm, right? By this it's called Chesil Beach in Dorset. No idea where this is.
Massachusetts, I believe.
Okay, gotcha. And they spotted a body laying down in the ocean or whatever, right? And you know he was like, "Well, what is this? What's going on? Why is there a person out there?"
Yeah.
Goes, swims right to rescue this body, this floating body out there, only to find that when he inspected it, it was in fact a doll. And yes, and it's one of those naughty time dolls. Yeah.
Now,
yes.
did he have naughty time in the water with the doll? That's the important part of the story.
Oh my god. Not that I know of. Not that they reported here, but yeah, that's what he found, and he was literally thought that there was someone, you know, in the ocean out there floating, and you know, like Castaway or something, right?
Right.
And went to go save this person just to find that it was a doll indeed. So, you know, one, I'm glad it wasn't a person, right? It wasn't an actual person. But two is like, why was there a floating doll out there? And which I'm asking that question, but I really don't want to know. I'm just you know, I'm just asking it, but
it just goes to show that they're getting a lot more realistic. So, you know.
I mean, oh my goodness, I guess. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, listen, they fooled me.
That was my weird news for this week.
Okay, so I have one, and the first two words will tell it all. Florida man. Yeah. So
again, Florida man strikes again.
There you go. Florida man strikes again. So I was looking through. This is from the Huffington Post.
Okay.
So, you know when we play GTA, right? Like, we're playing GTA, and you know how, like, things can get out of hand, right? Like, you'll jack a car, you'll, you know, crash into something, you'll blow something up, you'll, you know, like, but it's all fantasy fun, right? This is a, like, GTA, this is what I would imagine the newspapers would look like if GTA was real. So, the sheriff put it this way: no title could explain this case, but the details will, well, it's best to just read on. That was the sheriff's explanation. So this comes out of Port St. Lucie, Florida. A man was at a bar. He was, let's see what his name is again. I will find his name in a second. But he was at a bar, right? It's 1 hour. Today we're recording on a Friday. You go out to a bar, you have fun. He comes out of the bar. Now, I don't know how drunk he was, but he comes out of the bar, can't find his car. So he can't find his car, so logic then tells him, steal a car to find your car.
Definitely GTA moment.
Right. So he said, he claimed that the police say he claimed he stole the car in a, quote, good faith effort, end quote, to search for his own vehicle after leaving the bar early Saturday.
Oh my god.
Right. So he steals a car and he's looking for his car, but he drives on a train track. The car that he has stolen stalls out on the train tracks. There's a train coming.
Oh my gosh.
So he then has to jump out of the car, right? He gets out of the car, the train hits the car launches into a house. Thankfully, the people in the house are okay. Nobody's hurt.
Yeah.
But still, imagine you're sleeping in bed and a car is like vaulted into the side of your house. It doesn't end there.
Could you imagine that, being in that house and be like, who was using GTA cheat code?
Seriously. Spawned a car in the backyard. It doesn't end there. He then, after all of that, he runs to a fruit stand, vandalizes the fruit stand, and tries to steal a forklift from the fruit stand to continue to search for his car. And it is at that point in which he fails to steal the forklift that 38-year-old Bradford Weitzel decides maybe I should flag down the cops that have showed up to investigate the car crash with the train. Let me flag down the deputies and tell them that he's searching for his car. Needless to say, he was arrested, as he should have been. He was charged with grand theft, criminal mischief, and as they say, additional charges are expected. But Florida man strikes again. It is from the Huffington Post, and the title of the article is Florida man steals car, train sends it crashing into house. That is the wild.
If you would have told me this, right, and just never said this was real, right? Just tell me the story and everything. I would have said, when were you playing GTA?
Right?
I literally would have said that.
Yeah.
That is something I would probably have done in GTA.
That's my thought. Like, because I was thinking back to all the group GTA sessions we've had, and like, you know, there's one particular person, Sir Grecky, who sort of is very chaos sort of prone. That is a Grecky story. That is something that would happen to Grecky, I feel like.
And him just telling it like it's nothing, too.
Yeah, like, yeah.
Just
so,
like,
yeah, it just happened. It just sort of happened. But yes, that is the wider...
Wow,
yeah.
I would say you're the winner this week. Yeah, for sure, yo.
I mean, I don't know, I kind of...
Oh my gosh.
I don't know. I kind of, would like to see how realistic the sex doll was that fooled the person. So
I mean, there's pictures on there. There's literally. I mean, they obviously blurred things out.
Pictures, you say?
But yeah, it's. Oh, I forgot to mention that it is missing its head. So.
Oh, they see that takes some of the. Well, yeah. Now that kind of makes me wonder. Does somebody is like, I don't need the rest of this. I just need the head and saw off the head and chuck the body into the water or something.
Oh my god!
That's a very, I don't know, the implications of that.
We need to find out.
Yeah, we need to
we need to find out the more of this story.
Yeah, we need to dig more into this. Yeah,
we need to know the origin of this doll.
Somebody's out there with some head,
Oh my god!
But yeah. On that note.
Yeah.
If you've made it to the end of the episode, congratulations, you've won the grand prize of Scarring Memories. Thank you for watching episode 2 of the BB&J show. BB, any parting words after all of that's been laid in front of you?
I will try to make sure I don't dream about any dolls or Florida man tonight. But thank you so much for watching our show and liking it, sharing it, subscribing. It's awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. All who watched, all who, no matter how far into the episode you've made it or not, we appreciate you so very much. We will be back next week. We've already started talking pre-production of next week's episode and figuring some things out. So we hope you enjoyed this episode, and we hope to see you next week. And I thank you for BB. I'm Jay. This has been episode 2 of the BB&J show. We'll catch you next time, my friends. Peace.